everybody. Welcome to Table for Two. I'm Onezie.
And I'm the Elusive Bigfoot.
Today, we're talking about luck-based games.
So for me, we've done a video on games that are more strategy than luck, and so we'll make sure that we put a card in the corner for you. This one is going to be about where you can be as good as you want, but really, if you aren't very lucky, and then we're going to talk about what that looks like. Yeah, that.
I'll also say that being a luck-based game is not a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing.
It's just an aspect.
And sometimes it's frustrating that it's luck, more luck than anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're glad that it's more luck than anything.
And one thing that I do like about luck-based games is that if you are playing with someone who doesn't win very many games, or someone who wins a lot of games, having a luck-based element can help even the playing field. So consider that as well. Okay?
Why don't you go first and tell us what's on your list for luck-based games?
All right. My first game is Cubitos. So I'll just tell you now, I do have quite a few dice-driven games on my list. Cubitos is no different. My first game is Cubitos. Cubitos is a dice rolling game where you roll a set of dice, and then based on the symbols that it shows, you can either bank that and move your pieces or collect more dice, or you can push your luck and roll some more dice. But if you bust, you will get nothing. So you have to really decide when is a good time to stop and when is a good time to keep on going and take what you got.
Right, and the different dice have different powers.
Right. That's the thing about Cubitos. It's also a dice drafting game where you can get more dice into your pool. So instead of using the base dice, which don't have very many powers, you really want to try to start building up some good dice and then hopefully get rid of your base dice. Like a deck drafting game.
Dice drafting.
Well, like a deck drafting game, you want to get rid of your regular cards. This is a dice drafting game.
All right, my first one up frustrates me greatly, and yet I still play it.
I'm trying to figure out what that is now.
Which is
poker.
No, that frustrates me too. But backgammon is the game.
Okay.
So with backgammon, it's a dice rolling game, and then you move your pieces around the board to try to get them to a home position. You can knock people off the board and onto the bar. Other people can knock you off the board and onto the bar. And while
can you say more about the bar for people who haven't played?
Yes. So the bar is literally the bar in the middle of the game. There's a physical bar, and then once you're put there, it's kind of like being in jail, and you have to roll a number of a free space in your starting territory to get off the bar and start going around the board again.
And the starting territory is the opponent's place? Is their home. Okay, got it.
But the thing that really frustrates me about it is that once you understand the strategy of the game, it's really just the luck of the roll. Because it seems like you have a choice, and it seems like you can you're deciding which of your pieces to move, so therefore you have some control over it, but you can't always move to a safe spot. At some point you must move, or one of your pieces is going to be open, and then just luck of the roll, whether your opponent will be able to hit you and put you on the bar, luck of the roll, whether you'll be able to get off the bar. In the end, it's really just luck, as long as both players have a basic knowledge of the game. So that's my first game to mention, is backgammon. Apparently it's fun because I keep playing it over and over and over and over again.
He does.
But it seems to be completely based on the luck of the dice.
Okay, good choice. My next game is a game that we play during the holidays, which is Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
Ooh, I like that.
It's, there is some strategy in trying to go through different rooms or repeat certain rooms so that you get certain things. But at the end of the day, you are rolling dice. And based on what dice you are rolling is whether or not you can get additional things, or you're going to take some damage or some insanity. So it's a game that we like to play where you're basically traversing through a haunted house until you get to a certain point. Once you get to a certain point, there's a betrayer, and everyone reads the book to find out who is the betrayer, and it's based on which room something happened and what happened at that moment, I think, that determines who is the betrayer. And then the betrayer will then get a separate book to read, and we have a separate book. Everyone else has a separate book, and you're reading what are the win conditions now that it's this, and the win conditions are hidden. So super fun.
Betrayal.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
All right, my next one up for luck
Mm-hmm.
is one of the most basic of gateway games. It's the card game of War.
Wow,
So
okay.
you divvy up the deck
Mm-hmm.
evenly. You flip cards until
Yeah.
you get one that's matching the other person's card.
Yeah, there is no skill in that game.
And then you flip over other cards to see who got the
Mm-hmm.
high card.
Yeah. Yeah.
All luck. I would call it more of a pastime.
Yeah.
But the game of War, classic.
Classic. It's probably the first game that most of us have played when we were kids.
Or learned,
Yeah.
yeah. War.
Okay. Let me see. My next game is Camel Up. I love this game. It's a ridiculous game where instead of a horse race, you're racing a bunch of camels, but the camels can stack on each other, and then you'll move the bottom camel. You're taking a pyramid, and you press a button, and it spits out a die, and then based on that die is how many spaces a certain color camel will move, and then that camel will move and then possibly jump on the back of another camel, or sometimes the camel will go backwards and take everybody with it that's stacked on top of it. So landing on top of a camel sometimes is good, sometimes not, and then you can also bet on is a camel going to land in a certain area. So one thing I like about this game is if you have a bunch of people who um, are silly, don't take things serious, this could be a lot of fun. Also, it's not really something that you can figure out who's going to win. It really is so random, but I think that's what makes it funny.
Yes, it is a wacky game, and the points that you score are actually done through betting.
Yeah.
Right. So, but there's really no way to tell which camel's going to win because of the mechanics of the game.
Sometimes there's a camel that's so far down the track. I'm like, this is going to be really hard for this camel not to win, so I'm going to go ahead and bet on that one.
But then through the course of the game, one of the other camels might go the other way.
Yeah, that going the other direction is the only thing that really will, just mess with you a lot. But yes, you can
camel up. Yeah,
camel up is good. Okay, what is your next one?
My next one, another dice game.
Okay.
Zombie dice.
Oh, okay.
And instead of being a game of pure luck, this is the game of push your luck. So the goal is to get as many points as you can, or brains.
Right, you're trying to you are zombies, and you're trying to capture brains.
So as many brains as you can before you get gunshots.
3 gunshots to the head.
Right. And so you roll some dice, you get some brains. You can either roll some more dice, or you can choose to stop and bank your brains.
Or if you push your luck and you lose everything.
You lose all the brains.
All the ones from that turn. You'll still keep the ones you had from a previous turn, but that turn, pass the dice on.
Right. So with the zombie dice, I guess no guts, no glory, right?
That's how you like to play.
You got to roll the dice to get the points, but you also roll the dice to lose the points.
Yeah.
So that's zombie dice.
Yeah, it's a really basic game, and I like that it's from Steve Jackson Games. One thing they did is they also came out with some expansions. So there's the hero and the hottie, where they can rescue each other if they were captured. I think it's like if you rolled their brain, they get captured. But so let's say that was the hero. He got captured. If I roll the hottie and she's got feet, I think she's allowed to rescue the hero, and they go back in your little cup. So you pull out 3 dice and roll them and see what you get. Pull out more dice, so you get a total of 3, and you roll that. Then there's also a Santa Claus, and then my favorite one is actually the school bus. So based on this giant, I think it's a 20-sided die you roll, depends on what that is what you'll end up getting. Double brains. Maybe you run into a yield sign and all the people run away. It's just different things.
It's a fun game.
Yeah. All right, my next one is actually a bag game.
Oh, We might have a duplicate.
Oh, okay. It is Quaxaquedlinburg.
We have it, ladies and gentlemen.
All
A
right.
duplicate.
We love this game. We used to play it every Sunday. Go back to that. I love this game where you have a bag. You've got you're trying to build a potion. You're all creating, you know, like your quacks. You just are like hacks at building potions, and you don't want to have too many white chips that is like bad stuff happen. And then when you have a certain amount of points based on those white chips, your potion explodes, and then you lose it all. So at one point, that push your luck, you got to just stop. I'm like, I'm just going to bank what I have, buy better chips, better tokens that I can put into my bag so I can get better ingredients.
And just as the game goes, you get more lucky because you buy the good chips to put in your bag, and they start to outnumber the bad chips. So you can get farther around the board.
Yeah. One thing I also want to say is that it comes with these little cardboard chips that you put into your bag. Highly recommend investing in the Geek Up bits, the little acrylic pieces. They just feel so satisfying in your bag and in your hand.
Not a paid sponsor of this video.
No, not at all. No, that's just something I highly recommend to people. Like, get those. They're great. All right. I think that brings us to our last one.
Yes, because we duplicated. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I wonder if we duplicated this one. Do you think we did?
I don't know.
Okay. Why don't you go first?
Okay. The ultimate one on my list for luck is Fireball Island.
No, that is not a duplicate. Okay.
So with Fireball Island, it's a game, but it's also a toy.
Oh my God, this is from the 80s from Restoration Games. So much fun.
And you put marbles in the top of your volcano, and they roll down the plastic volcano island and knock over your explorer pieces.
Yeah.
As they walk around gathering points.
And if they shoot them all the way down to the bottom, you got to stand them up to wherever it's closest to them, and they stand up there.
So when you put this marble in the volcano, you know which hole of the volcano it's going to come out of, but you really have no way of knowing how it's going to roll over that half of the island. It could go anywhere. It could knock you over. It could knock your opponent over. It could miss anybody. Hopefully
you don't aim it towards you. You would aim it to the other side of the island. But, you know, if everyone's on one side, it's only going one way.
The treasure is where the treasure is. So that's it. Fireball Island.
Oh, my gosh. You know, I will say this game is huge. It takes up most of our game table. And I have brought this out to different places. It has got such great game presence, and it is an eye catcher. And if you ever, you know, were a kid back in the 80s or the 90s where the games were still three-dimensional plastic pieces, what do? Oh, you will love this game. So much fun. Great choice. All right. My final game is actually another bag building game. It is Wonderland's War.
Oh, we mentioned that in another thing earlier.
We've mentioned it before. It definitely fills the need for us in a lot of different ways. This game, similar to Quaxaquedlinburg, where you have more and more good pieces that you have in your bag, and you're drawing out things and hope you don't bust. But one thing that I like about Wonderland's War that they also do is if you do bust, well, then you get all your good that once you've used up your pieces, instead of putting it back like Quaxaquedlinburg, they stay out until you bust, and then you get to put them back again. So sometimes it's worth it to bust because then you get your pieces back again. So, but it's just, this game is beautiful for so many ways. But again, invest in those little acrylic chips. Not sponsored in any way, but so worth the investment. They feel so good in your hand.
And just thematically, I think it's madness that makes you bust, which is appropriate for Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, it is the madness. And then
you get mad.
If you go mad, I mean, there's different ways that things can go wrong, but I highly recommend buy this game.
So that has been our top 5s for luck-based games. If you like what you've seen, like and subscribe. Click the button below. For Table for Two, I'm Onezie.
And I'm the Elusive Bigfoot. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.